welcome back to our weekly Sewing Bee debrief. So every week this year we are doing a little catch up after the most recent episode of the Sewing Bee, some combination of the four of us. Who's in the office, yeah, exactly. We have a little chat, share our thoughts on the most recent episode. So this week, week 7, lingerie week. Week 7, I know it's absolutely flying.
All of a sudden, like, it's got to that stage where all of a sudden it's gone down to smaller amounts of people. Yeah. I am so heavily invested now.
Yeah, I know.
I am in.
It's amazing, like, how giving them a bit more, like, screen time.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So much more, and you feel like you know them, and like, oh, that's a typical thing that they would make.
Oh, that's so marvellous.
I know, exactly. And I think there's only, like, 3 weeks left, is that right?
Yeah, they will. Were they saying it's the quarterfinals next week?
Oh, okay.
We're into that sort of territory.
Yeah, when it's got a name.
Yeah. I feel because it was moved this week because of sport.
Yeah.
So we can take those sporting terms and be like, it's the quarterfinals. We're out of the knockouts now. We're into the quarterfinals.
Into the serious time.
Yeah, out of the group stages.
So do you enjoy it, lingerie week?
I really enjoyed it. I love it when it's these later episodes as well and everything's a bit meatier.
Yeah. Super technical.
Yeah. So what we started off with
the silk pajama top. Oh, didn't you want one of those?
Really, really want one.
Not for necessarily sleeping in, but just, you know, feeling like a film star, walking around the house. Maybe like take the bins out.
Yeah.
Look super glam. I loved it.
Yeah, really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I think lots of techniques.
Yeah.
Tricky fabrics.
Kind of seemed not that scary when you first look at it, but actually when you come down to it, working with that kind of fabric, doing the buttonholes right at the end, doing all the piping, matching everything up, actually really hard.
Really, really fiddly. And
4
I think
hours.
a lot of them struggled with getting that piping even throughout, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which is really, really tricky. So I've made a couple of those shirts before for pyjamas, but I've always, because there are actually for pyjamas, when I've made them out of cotton. And they're really satisfying and lovely to sew in cotton, but obviously
nice
they
to
weren't probably allowed to use a lovely cotton. They had to use something silky and tricky.
Beautiful fabrics.
Yes,
all
gorgeous.
Some familiar fabrics.
Very
Like we've seen
familiar.
those before. They're lovely. And it was a good challenge, I thought, because it really separated the group.
Yeah.
Some people, I think 2 of them finished it, or maybe they all kind of finished it, but like 2 of them were like Alex's and Pasha's were quite distinctly higher standard, I thought.
They were definitely.
And then some of the others struggled a little bit more. It's the buttonholes that always trips them up, isn't it? And your heart feels for them.
I was wondering, like, when I was watching it, it's like, would you ever like do the buttonholes before and then just do them and you know they're done and you don't have to worry about them at the last minute? I suppose you'd sacrifice something else, but then they're so obvious.
It's across my mind just in general sewing to do that before, like start, or like when you do one of the very first steps is often to iron the facing and do buttonholes.
Yeah, you could do it.
To be honest, I always just forget. It's not on your radar to do buttonholes then, is it? It doesn't tell you the instructions, but and then also if it goes terribly wrong, you can just scrap it. Just start again.
You've only got like 2 fronts. You haven't done the rest of the dress or
3 days, and
that's a very good point.
No, I wondered about that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's horrible rushing that. You just can't. It's horrible to do buttonholes anyway.
Yeah.
And then
silky fabrics.
But
I thought they were lovely. I loved how Alex won Patrick round with her pipe binding.
Yeah.
Piping? What are we talking? Piping. Piping choice.
The bronze.
Yeah.
And the green, because I wasn't sure either, and he was holding up, and I was like, "Did they go?" But she was absolutely right. Yeah, they did go. And Pasha's with the lovely. I love pink and green together.
Yes.
What a nice
gorgeous. I think Ailsa's wasn't as good. She was the one that messed up a button at the bottom, and it was all wonky.
I like the idea of the Christmas pajamas. I think a lot of people wear a special pair of pajamas like on Christmas Eve night. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought that would be a fancy thing to whip out.
That's it. And quite often you're maybe having like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning with your family or whatever.
Pajama sort of.
Yeah.
For some people, isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe this year will be glam.
Yeah, glam Christmas. And what were the other ones? I can't remember. What was Luke's? No. Oh, and Susie's seemed like it was going really well, and then she had a total nightmare with the buttons. But I love that fabric that she was using, the pink with the bows.
Yes, and then the alternate colourway for the piping, which is a really nice way to choose fabrics, I think, if you're not sure about what goes with it.
Yes.
Often, like, all the colourways of a fabric are designed sort of to go together a bit, and I think that's a really good shout.
And Marcus, he changed his binding. I keep on finding piping at the
Yes.
last minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a good move.
I think it was
better,
move.
yeah.
Yeah. I like how he didn't quite trust. Was it Patrick that was saying to him?
Yeah, he went over to Luke and he was like, "Are you sure?" Luke was like, "Yes."
Nice bit of camaraderie.
Yeah.
But yeah, good fun, because I've made my Libby shirt.
Very much reminded me of your Libby shirt.
Yeah.
Not long ago that you made that.
I love it so much it has graduated to day wear rather than pyjamas.
Yeah, but it can be pyjamas later.
I know, right? Or in between, I feel like when I wash it, it can reset.
It's fresh enough.
And it's sort of like, okay, for the between the washes now it's pyjamas.
Yeah.
Then I wash it again and then it's day wear.
Yeah.
It's just like what it turns into.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked a lot in that video about how satisfying it is to make like really nice.
Yeah.
You make your own pyjamas, put the time into making pyjamas that you'd put into making anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how gratifying that was.
Definitely, and it's just it feels like so for yourself.
Yeah.
Like so indulgent.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
So I would like to try one of those.
Yeah, dude, maybe try some piping, because you can add piping to anything.
I love that as a finish.
Yeah.
It looks so nice.
It's really, really swish.
Okay, and then the transformation challenge, they had to take shapewear, which is actually not even a term that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
Shape. I know what they mean. It's like underwear.
Like that really strong.
Stretchy. Yeah. And turn it into an interesting and exciting garment.
Another typically vague
I know.
brief, which I think if Alma was here, she would be telling them off about. Because it was. And then on that...
How do you interpret that? I mean,
exactly.
You don't have nothing to channel.
Yeah.
But
where do you go?
They smashed it.
And it's like not much fabric because it's so small and tight.
Yeah.
And they could have lace, couldn't they? Stretch lace.
Some lace as well.
And some haberdashery and stuff
Hard
like that.
things to sew with. Stretch lace.
Yeah. This one, when it, sometimes when you hear the briefs, you kind of like, what would I do?
Yeah. Nothing.
No idea.
I know.
Absolutely
I was like, I can maybe make the same thing and just put lace on top.
Yeah, exactly. I've made some cycling shorts.
Yeah,
I've just
exactly.
taken off the top.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. My mind just went blank.
Really tricky.
But immediately I feel like Pasha was like, oh, I've turned it upside down. I was like, that's a good idea.
That was very cool.
To like just shake off that image of...
Yeah, I think that's it with the transformation challenges, isn't it? Is that you've already got something in your head because you've seen it as what it is.
It's so hard to
get away.
unsee. Like, the original garment.
Maybe that's the rule always, like, turn it upside down first.
Maybe that's the trick.
And then get that out of your head.
Yeah, start afresh.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about Marcus's.
Right, Marcus was robbed.
Well, yeah, they said an interesting and exciting... Did they say garment?
Maybe that was the rule.
Because it wasn't that wearable.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
just, like, cut a hole that an arm could go through.
I know. So outside the box, so interesting and like clever.
And really, I feel like it played into the shapewear as well, because it was all about like a man's form and this, that, and the other. And it could be like there probably are some things somewhere that men can get to like beef up under a t-shirt.
Maybe.
Marcus has started this.
Oh, I wonder if there's a thing. Don't know.
We'll Google this after
I thought really clever. When he was starting it, I was like, I have no idea what you're doing. But yeah, it was quite clear in the end.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, I think he was a little bit under.
Maybe they didn't know how to like compare it with the other garments because it was quite different what he came up with, wasn't it?
It was.
How to rank it? Susie's with all the cool like strap.
Lot of
situation.
straps. Yeah. And there was a
good thought.
She did like little cups, didn't she? Yeah. And this, that, and the other. It was very. It all looked quite like post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
I wouldn't
but
say
she said Lara Croft, didn't she?
Oh yeah,
like
she did.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do with shapewear? I would struggle. Other than, like you said, I'll just put some lace on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, hard. But yeah, good
really
selection.
Tricky.
And then finally the made to measure was, oh my god, amazing. So they had to make a bustier dress.
With so many tiny, tiny pieces.
Yes.
The fitting.
The fitting is the thing, I mean.
And that's what Marcus fell down on.
Yeah.
And
Elsa.
That's it. Completely fair. That is hard. Even with someone's measurements, because I think they get their measurements beforehand, don't they?
I mean, even do that to yourself.
It's so hard.
Yeah. You would never do that without a toile or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder if they'd be allowed to like make up a. Because if they're allowed the measurements, I feel like they're allowed the measurements and to alter the pattern beforehand, and then they kind of double check it when the models come in.
Ooh, like if they could try on.
Sew up a little toile that they could whip on. That would. I feel like.
Surely not, but maybe. Maybe.
Maybe it would be like a tiny little loophole.
Yeah, maybe someone must have thought of that.
Yeah, you would have thought. If they're sewers, they would have thought of that.
Because they often have made up at home, so surely you were just thinking there and
I just bring it on?
Yeah.
Keep away from the cameras. But yeah, really tricky.
Yeah.
So impressed.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah, so many good ones.
Even the ones that weren't as successful were just still so impressive.
Yes, the ideas behind them were brilliant. I love Marcus's like My Chemical Romance inspired bustier dress. Where did that come from?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah. I love how he's been so like true to himself throughout this whole thing. Yeah. All his inspiration.
In fact, a lot of them now I think you can really clearly see their identities and what you see it with Luke a lot with their like drag inspired costumes and like and Susie's style I think as well is very much. And it's kind of the same with Pasha as well. Like her stuff's it feels like neat and clean, and she comes across as like so neat and so meticulous. And like I think that's probably why you sort of get into it a lot more at this stage, isn't it? You see those personalities coming through, which is and
really
as like Esme was saying, like that's what it's all about. Like, I love to see your style in it.
That's it. And that's what sewing is like quite often will have all four of us will have made the same thing.
Yeah,
and they'll all look so different.
Well, often we film videos on that, don't we?
Yeah,
and then they're like how we've interpreted it differently, and
it's really good. Did you have a favourite out of the final ones?
Probably I felt like Pasha's was the best.
I think that was technically the best.
I had a little soft spot for Susie's colourful one.
I think Susie's colourful one was really good.
Again, it was just like so her style.
Yeah.
I just loved that.
Yeah.
And I was just really rooting for her because I feel like she's had a few weeks of problems and little mistakes and stuff, and she just smashed it basically, didn't she?
She did, and she pulled it back.
Yeah.
She pulled it back with that. I was a little bit like, okay, I think it's Susie's time, but actually, I was proved wrong.
What was your favourite? Do you agree?
I think Pasha's was probably the best, but I think I liked Alex's. She did that. So the boning was sort of exposed, and she had rip-cracked down it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very cool, making a feature of it, and the style of it. I also really like Ailsa's with the different, like the shape of the bodice was different, and the shape of the skirt was really interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting interpretation, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, massively impressed. I have not made.
I've never boned anything.
Neither have I. I've not. No, we've got boning in the Rosie dress.
Yeah, but it's optional, isn't it?
That's it.
I've not dared yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the shape is like it's very trendy as well at the minute. I think.
Yeah, it is. It would. I'm quite keen. I'd be quite interested to do it, but maybe not under time pressure.
Yeah.
With cameras in my face.
Yeah.
As always. But yeah. I think it was Marcus's time to go.
Yeah, it's a shame to see him leave though.
It seemed fair.
Yeah.
And now
they all seem to really like him as well.
I know, it's the sad bits when they all have the cuddles at the end.
Yes. Down to 5. Next week is Diva Week.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yes, I've forgotten about that. Really excited.
Yeah.
That could go anywhere.
Yeah. I love the little teaser. There was like I don't know, like a fringe dress.
Love. Yeah, if anyone's seen my Sorrento jacket.
Yeah.
I love a bit of fringing. It looked like the what are they called? Made to Measure is the last channel. Is that what it's called? The Made to Measures just looked so diverse, so out of this world. They just looked
like Space Age almost.
Space Age. It looked like the brief is just like go, which
like
is quite
craziest
exciting.
outfit you can think of. Yeah. I don't think they've done this before.
I don't
remember Diva Week.
I wonder, because there was an exhibition somewhere in the last year on divas, whether it was at the V&A or somewhere like that.
Maybe it's linked or inspired.
Yeah, love a diva. Obviously, we're such divas in the office.
We do seem to use a lot of fringe.
Yeah, we do. We have swapped fringe between us at some point.
Always doing fringe. So let us know what you thought of this episode. We'll be back next week to break down Diva Week. Some combination of the 4 of us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and remember to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.